Hey, come on. You gotta work with me here. I'm just trying to cut a deal. What do you want me to do? Where are you? You bunch of losers! You're working with a professional here! Nice fucking model!
Well, hello LJH crew. Thank you for clicking on this video. As you can see, this will be a Beetlejuice themed video. I was going through some YouTubers that I follow and, looking at some reviews that they do. And I only saw a few that have done a review on something that I thought was a good transfer. And I'm talking about the Beetlejuice 4K Blu Ray. It's one of those movies that has very dark elements, which Tim Burton meant to do. It's definitely one of those films that was meant to have the dark elements and the brightness when it needed to. But it also, it's a cult following movie that over time has changed with time. It had its couple of remasters, it had a couple of anniversary editions, and when this came to 4K, I believe it came to 4K in like 2019, maybe the beginning of 2020. I was excited because I said, oh, here's a film that they could do a lot with. And by saying that, I mean Beetlejuice is one of those films that was filmed on 38mm, which is, how movies used to be filmed. But there's a difference between mid-90s 38mm to early 90s 38mm to the 80s going backwards. Beetlejuice came out in 1988. And it's probably one of the most talked about visual effects movies that there is. There's not a lot of CGI. And, the late 80s is where CGI kind of started to come into play. They had the 90s. But, what people don't realize is Beetlejuice doesn't have a lot of CGI. And so a lot of the effects were, what's the word I'm looking for? They were visual. Between the making of a dummy with Beetlejuice's head spinning, or, not a lot of people realizing this, the sandworm. That's a stop motion effect, which we later saw what, later on in the early 90s, what Tim Burton was capable of with stop motion. But we got to that before Christmas. But the sandworm was Michael Keaton, was Tim Burton's introduced to stop motion when he made the sandworm. And the original Beetlejuice film to this day is still one of the best visual movies ever made, in my opinion. It's still got one of the best makeup on anything that's ever, in film history, at least in my opinion. So when Warner gave this a 4K transfer, I was like, okay, what can Warner do with this that would make this different? And like I said, it goes back to changing with the times. And So a lot of the dark scenes that were meant to be dark, you know, the green, like for example, the green light going into the netherworld, you know, you could tell it was bright, but Warner said, hey, we can enhance this. And that green light is now, it pops with color. You know, even the Beetlejuice sign, completely different shade of yellow now, completely different shade of red. It really brings it out. And a lot of the dark scenes have been brightened up to see what's there and what you didn't notice. The thing about 4K, and I think a lot of viewers don't discuss this a lot, is 4K is meant to make a movie better. And in some cases it does, and in some cases it doesn't. And what I mean by that is, you know, I don't own the movie. I've only seen it in 4K once. And, you know, going back to a transfer that's not so good with 4K that they need to redo, is the Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. That was not a good 4K transfer. A 4K transfer is meant to be phenomenal. It's meant to make the movie feel like you're there. And with Beetlejuice, you definitely get that. The HDR in this film really makes a difference. It makes it feel like you're watching a different film. And I say that a lot because it's true. In all my reviews, you'll always hear me say that it feels like a different film. And for Beetlejuice, that definitely comes into play. If you were somebody that had never seen the Beetlejuice movie when it came out in 1988, and this is your first time watching it, you would think that this is how it was meant to be. For those of us that grew up with it and watched it over and over again, no, wow, this has become a film that it feels different than the film I've been watching growing up my whole entire life. And it's a film in 4K that definitely needs the recognition because it's awesome. If you have not seen Beetlejuice in 4K, I highly recommend that you see it. It's phenomenal. But I'm going to go ahead and show a couple of things here because I used just the beginning of the video and I just thought I didn't do it. So this is the cover, and here's the back of it. And as you open it up, no, nothing too fancy. You got the 4K in green and the Blu Ray in black. Being a physical media collector, I can tell you that if Beetlejuice isn't a title that you have in 4K in your collection, definitely pick it up. It's awesome. It's worth the pickup. It's worth the HDR10. It does have Dolby Atmos it has Dolby Atmos on the Blu Ray, on the 4K Blu Ray, and it's a great watch. So going back to my scale of how I rate it, the Beetlejuice 4K gets a solid A. The visuals are awesome. The dark elements you can are a little brightened to the point where you can see, but it still keeps that dark tone. Any bright colors that are in this movie are awesome. The sandworm for a stop motion effect with the 4K looks great. It's a solid A 4K film. And like I said, I know it came out in the 2020 area, but I 2020, 2019. I had to talk about this film, in my own opinion, about this 4K. Solid A. Definitely worth picking up if you haven't already. It's on Amazon. It's a reasonable price. You should definitely pick it up. And it is just an all-out fun 4K watch. So, leave comments down below, though. I want to know if you have the 4K Beetlejuice. Do you feel the way I feel? Do you feel it's a solid 4K transfer? What did you guys think of it? Let's start a conversation down below. And let me know. But with that being said, guys, I do have a lot more reviews coming up. I'm going through my 4K collections. I'm going through my 4K collections now, seeing what I can view on the channel and have not viewed on the channel. And Beetlejuice was one of the ones that I wanted to do. I'm planning on doing a few more. I'm going to probably do the Jurassic Park 4Ks, in my opinion, on how they look, especially the older ones. And there's a few other 4K titles that I know don't get talked about too much that I own that I definitely want to talk about. Plus, I got a couple new films I still have to talk about. And I will be having my friend Jeff back on the show. We will be going over our top favorite Christmas movies. That video will be out sometime this week. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I want you all to have a great day. Give this video a massive thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If this is your first time seeing my content. Hit those notification bells so you always know when I post a new video. Check out my TikTok at LJH Productions as well. And with that being said, LJH crew, I say to you, as they say in the movies, cue the lights.